Welcome to Mic Check Waifu Waifu.
Mic check. Mic check, waifu, waifu. Ma, tell him, is that you?
Bring it sprung.
This is episode 248 of Mic Check Waifu Waifu. This episode is brought to you by miccheckwaifuwaifu.com. There was a slight modernization to our website, so if you go to miccheckwaifuwaifu.com, there's a kind of a little new modern look to it. If you also go to the About section, you can join our Discord and you can support us on Patreon. Shout out to the Patreon producers that I have put up right here. Kristen, the archivist, Rob from Dad Needs to Talk, Fear, Go D Dre, Johnny from Show Go High, welcome back, brother. Cat the Pro from Chaotic Culture, Explicitly, All for One Matt, Monique Williams, Nachi, Semi Sensei, Frozen, Rob Stone, and T Money Fingers. Thank y'all so much for producing this and many other episodes of the podcast. We appreciate you. Yeah. Make sure you go to miccheckwaifuwaifu.com, hit the About section, join the Discord, because we just did a update to the Discord, a very fat, dope update to the Discord. It's cleaner. It's very, very, very nice to look at. We also have a forum section where we have episode discussions that we could bring from the Discord to the actual show and discuss them here on the show as well. So it's actually super fire. Anybody can join. No worries about Patreon subscribing or anything like that. You do get extra perks if you are subscribed and you're a Discord member, but if you're not, don't worry about it. You can still join the discussion. Shout out to Rob Stone for giving us a nice thick discussion on what we asked for last week about his review. He used our review scale to re-review My Sleeper last, Hokkaido Girls. Super in-depth writing. It was fucking wonderful. I love reading it. He got a lot of similar tastes because he mentioned More Than a Married Couple. He mentioned Dress Up Darling being some of his favorite stuff. Like,
yeah, those are great. Great
show. So I understand where he comes from much more clearly now with his taste and why he rated it as quote unquote low, which technically isn't low. It's a nice read. So make sure y'all check out the forum over on miccheckwaifuwaifu.com. Go to the About section, check it all out. Pretty dope. It's pretty dope. Okay. Spring is sprung, as Tell said. We are in the midst of spring. So let me give you a little rundown of how this episode is going to work. This episode is going to work with helping you guys call your lists. So help you chop down some of the stuff you didn't think you were going to watch that you may have added from our live episode where we built our spring watch lists. Some stuff that you may have thought like, you know what, this might be dope. I might check it out. If you didn't get the chance to check it out, let us talk about it and determine on if you want to continue watching it. We are going to spoil episode ones of everything, so it's super okay. But the way we spoil it is in a way where it describes on where we think the show is going, not necessarily what it is in its entirety. So stick with us. We're going to discuss these episode ones, talk about them in full, and go from there. We got a lot to discuss this episode. A ton. So as we start off every episode, Tell, how you feeling, brother?
Oh man, it's been a pretty chill week. I literally, I guess my birthday was this week.
Yeah, it was. Shout out to everybody on Twitter that gave him his happy birthday wishes. It was so many.
So much love. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's overwhelming. I appreciate it though. But literally on my birthday, all I did was lay down and did nothing.
I love that. That's
and let me tell you, bro, it was so peaceful. I ain't do nothing. You know, I worked out,
of course,
but normally I was doing 2 a days. I didn't even do my 2 a day. All I did that day was work out, eat, and get loved on, chill. That's it.
That's all.
That's it. My son, we're gonna take a day off from school. We're gonna do the mandatory stuff. We chilled. We everybody chilled. It was beautiful. It was a perfect birthday for me because it was like I ain't have to worry about nothing else. But yeah, bro, it was great. It was a great week. How about you, bro?
I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. Listen, I finally started Shogun with my lady. Mm-hmm. You know how I talk about like how good something is like directed? This is one of the most beautiful fucking shows I've ever watched in my entire life. It is so gorgeous. Yes. And I said this on Twitter, like I only watched the first 2 episodes so far. Or 3. 2? No, 3. We watched 3 episodes. It is almost the perfect. No, it's not. What the fuck am I? It's the perfect show. It is incredible.
What?
Yes, it's the perfect show. It's the immersion is so good because you watch it. You know, for those, obviously most of y'all know, but it's about a white man who comes over on a pirate ship from England, and he basically gets stranded in Japan for the first time, and the Japanese is going through like this whole almost Civil War-esque type of situation. Is probably going to lead up to a Civil War. I don't know yet. It's way more episodes out right now. I think it's done. I'm not entirely sure, but it's seeming like it's about to be a Civil War, and it's just so fire. Like everybody speaking Japanese, and then the white man just started looking around like, what the fuck is it people saying? And then they got a translator, and then when it translates, it does some of the coolest shit it do with like the language itself within the show. I'm like blown back. And then again, the cinematography, camera pans, the way the angles they use is fucking, it's so good. It's so good.
Where you watching it at?
It's on Hulu.
Okay.
Shout out to Mom Dukes for loaning me the Hulu, even though she got commercials, which pissed me off so bad. Ugh. Anybody don't have commercials and want to loan me their Hulu, I would appreciate it because I'm so sick of the commercials. But I digress. It's so good. That's one of the ones I'm enjoying right now, and just relaxing for the most part. But other than that, I'm doing real good, man. Real good.
Let's go. I love that.
All right. It's an anime podcast, though, that's brought to you every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. CT. We bring you seasonal anime discussion. It's about to be a big week because the spring has started. Anime has dropped. A lot of surprises. A lot of disappointments. We're going to discuss that here. Before we do that, what was your episode of the week?
I was reincarnated as the seventh prince so I can take my time perfecting my magical ability.
Love that you said that.
But actually, no. Dang, it's not that. It's not that. I'm sorry.
What?
I'm having a hard time. And it's that one, or it is, and let me find a name for it because I want to get the name right. I'm sorry, y'all know how I do. It is as a reincarnated aristocrat, I'll use my appraisal skill to rise in the world. I'm sorry.
That's the one you meant.
No, they both were very solid episodes and were both stuck in my head, man. But it might be recency bias because I watched this one more recently. But as the reincarnated aristocrat one was just like also, I have high hopes for it, and it just seemed too good to be true.
Yeah, those were some of the few that I was like glued to. But my episode of the week, oh man, it's super tough.
Yeah.
It's super tough. You chose the aristocrat one, right?
Yeah.
The appraisal skill?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to choose Windbreaker. and I'm going to choose Windbreaker for a particular reason. We could talk about that as we get into the depth of it, but at Cloverworks, one of my favorite studios, what an incredible job they did, not only with the animation and the action and all that, but the line art, the line work, and the music and the direction of it was spectacular. So we're gonna get into that. I have
to agree.
We're gonna get into that deeper into the show, but man, okay. So let's start. Did your sleeper come out? What was your sleeper this week? Let's remind people what our sleeper was. Bartender was your sleeper. Let's start off with our sleepers first. So because for the first time in probably, I don't know, 3 seasons, both of our sleepers dropped at the same time or in the same week.
Which is fire.
Which is super fire, which gives us the opportunity to talk about them both. So how do you feel about Bartender first episode? Now, again, we know it's a remake and everything like that. We did see the original, so we coming in completely blind. It's also Rob J. sleeper too.
So I enjoyed the introduction. I enjoyed how they fill out this world of being a bartender in a sense, without giving us way too much detail. I'm not disappointed. I feel like it's going to lead into what I was expecting, but to get this introductory kind of moment where we're understanding the context of what they're actually looking for in this show, like what it's like this episode told us what they're going to be presenting coming forward or going on after this. So yeah, I actually enjoyed it as a solid opening for that first episode.
Yeah, I would have to agree. It was, and I believe it was, again, I can't, the problem with using Discord to record is that I can't use Discord for anything else. So let me see if I can just go to Discord on the browser here, because there was something in particular in our forum that was said that had me like, see, this is exactly how I feel. And I think it was Jay Coates, if I'm not mistaken.
Hold on.
I'm going to the Discord right now on my browser, which is an awful experience if you ever use Discord on the internet browser.
I'm trying to get there.
Yeah, J. Cole posted the episode 1 discussion of Bartender. And he said, easiest watch of the season for me so far. Chill vibe. And the episode just flew by. Just hoping it's more of the same. And that's exactly the perfect way to describe what this episode was. It was so fast. It went by so fast that I didn't realize it was over. I'm like, is this a short? I thought it was like a 12-minute short because it was just so smooth and effortless with the way it like transitioned from one situation to the next. You got these two girls who work at this company who work at this hotel trying to find a bartender to serve a hotel's bar which hasn't been open, and the owner of the
6 months since the hotel has been open. Exactly,
for 6 months, and the hotel owner is steadfast on finding somebody who can create something called the Glass of God, which is maybe a drink. We don't necessarily know that for sure, but in their hunt, in their pursuit to find somebody who can create this Glass of God, they run across this clumsy man who seems to be into bartending because he was reading a book on a bench that they found after he asked the question of how to use a smartphone, and they kind of meet him again in this other area where he's like kind of stumbling around, and he kind of acts like a buffoon. So they're on their hunt of finding this bartender. They come across this research where they find out that this random guy won some bartender like competitions, and he's absolute fire, and it's only for a bar that's open certain times of the week and certain days. Right. And it's like, all right, let's go find this guy. And when they go to find the guy, come to find out that it's the guy that's been bumbling around that they kept running into throughout the entire city. And it's so, I don't know what it is about it. It's so likable. All of them, all the characters so far are so likable.
It's a very straightforward show.
Yes.
Simple. And it's exactly what it's telling you it is. And the characters are enjoyable enough to just go along for the ride. You know what I mean? Like exactly everything you said is exactly on point. It felt like we slid through this episode. It felt like 12 minutes. Like I think they even gave us like the intro song and everything this episode. And it was like, we just flew through this episode because it was so, we was talking about this in terms of music earlier. It was so readily digestible. It was there, and we just took it in, and then we were done. So yeah, it was a joyride in a sense, but a very calming one.
What it is, and it was with a couple of shows this week that was so effortless for me to enjoy. It was some of them I was watching and I didn't look away once, and I think I have like ADD out the wazoo. Sometimes I'm fucking looking at my phone, or I'm looking over something on my desk, or my stream deck, or I'm just looking at something else sometimes when I'm watching these shows where I have to kind of go back and look at the screen like, oh, did I miss something? Oh, nah, just keep wandering. But this time I didn't wander at all. My eyes was glued to the screen, which is, to be honest, a theme with this season, I think, but with a very small few selected shows so far. The reason why this is the 2024 spring anime season preview part 1 is because
more will be dropping next week.
Next week is pretty much the rest of it outside of Demon Slayer and My Hero. But great stuff, man. Great first episode for your sleeper bartender.
And yours.
A Condition Called Love. let me just start here. I didn't know what to expect going into it. Obviously, we knew nothing. But to get something, and let me go to the discussion with this one because somebody else said something very relevant. That's why I love this new Discord format because it's very, very well said. It was one of the Patreon producers, T Moneyfingers, and other producers responds and says, I want to get the point. He says, I like the man, but I haven't seen such tropes on full display. They just kind of like shoving them down your throat. Now, a condition called love does have tropes that are so blatantly obvious of who the characters are that are pushed to the forefront extremely strongly in this first episode. You got a guy that's a people pleaser, and you got a girl that's never been pleased, basically, in the way of romance. That's essentially what this is. But it's done in a very tasteful way with very, again, tasteful characters that I absolutely thoroughly enjoy. But it's so charming, I think, is what it is, that I was surprised. I was pleasantly surprised.
I wasn't surprised because I knew it was gonna be good because you and Crystal, y'all haven't missed like this. So I wasn't necessarily surprised. I thought this was gonna be good. There was a moment where I was kind of doubting it for a second, and it was only because like the people pleasing tendencies.
Yes.
So, and I'm gonna be real with you. It feels like manipulation to me, but as I'm getting into the story and kind of listening to how things are going, how it's told, I'm like, okay. I mean, bro really does just want to love somebody, right? He just want to love somebody. He want to be loved. He's got this value in it, and you do think about how, for instance, even when she was saying he doesn't think about himself. He's not thinking about himself. So he is kind of carelessly pushing forward and getting someone he wants to be recognized by. He's trying to get them to like him. So he's doing this. And yes, those are people pleasing tendencies. But as they described in the story, this is what this man believes from the first, few minutes. So I was involved. I'm like, okay, I get it. And it took me back, especially towards the end, once we got that kind of like culmination of everything in this first episode, which is crazy because this episode so much got done and was achieved. It felt like several events or episodes just into this one, but it felt like it flowed very smoothly as well. And we get to this final point in this episode, we're like, yo, maybe we can make this work. We'll try it out. And that was a beautiful kind of like, coalescence of everything at the end.
So what you said is exactly the same way I felt. I thought it was going to be a manipulation type of ordeal when it came to the way he was kind of thrusting his fucking people pleasing onto her. It was kind of like, okay, maybe
the haircut.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, maybe this will be a little bit too much. But like you said, everything came together, and the way it ended in a way where it takes fucking slice of life shows 12 episodes to get to. And that's why I said in this particular thread that this is a breath of fresh air, because they starting from the point of we're together. Now this is a different aspect, because at the end of this first episode, they get together. So like I said, we're spoiling episode ones of stuff. It's all there, but trust me, you will want to watch it to how they get to that point, because it's very intriguing on the conversation that they have in the dynamic between the two people, which is one who's never been loved and one who's just looking strictly for what seems to be a real love, and what's going to happen in between that when it comes to this newly formed couple. I am looking forward to seeing where this goes and grows, because it's growing in a way that we haven't seen before in a very long time. I think the closest thing is the angel next door, probably, or maybe even more than a married couple, because it was more so, but that was more so of like a forced arrangement type of situation. But it's a situation where they're together at the start, like it's the beginning of love from episode one. So it's like, or the start of getting to love. Yeah, the start of getting to love. That's a good way of putting it. Amazing. And again, another show that my eyes was glued to. I couldn't look away. I didn't look away once, because to be honest, I say this all the time. After the first episode, I don't watch the intros and outros no more. This outro, Montel.
Yeah.
This outro, I listened to the whole fucking thing twice and I ran it back on YouTube. It's so good. The ending song is so good, man. It's an R&B bop. Like, it's fucking so good. I had to play it back.
There was a couple of them that actually had a little vibe to them this season too.
Yeah, but
this was definitely, I think, one of the better ones.
The outro for this one is the best, and I think the intro of Windbreaker is the best. I think those are my two. Wait, did Windbreaker have an intro, or was that the outro? That might have been the outro, but either way, those are my two favorites so far.
Okay.
From everything we've seen. All right, those are the sleepers. Now, moving on to let's go to. I'm gonna go personally to what one I was looking forward to that is not good. And it's a few of them that's not good, but I'm gonna start here. The God's games we play. This was absolutely awful. It's rare that I text tell. Again, we talk about this every time. It's rare that I text tell on an animated I watch because we usually save it for the show. But this one was so fucking frustrating that it's like, yo, please stop this terrible exposition dump. Because we talk about this all the time. What God's games we play does is it gives you two characters who's been established in the world this entire time. They're talking to each other and they're literally spewing the rules of the world, what the world history is, blah, 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 to each other. Like they don't know this stuff already. And it irritates me to no end because as viewers, it's literally just 12, 13 minutes of you talking to this person saying, yeah, but you know, guys do this and guys do that. And we are all playing the guys games. We are all part of the guys games and blah, 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 blah. And they're just exposition dump. One after another without giving us time to learn about the character, who they are and what their goal is and where they're trying to go. It is just a fucking spew of exposition. And it's so frustrating. It has a 61% on AniList, rightfully so. It's so bad. It's such a bad first episode that I'm like, I don't know if I can keep watching it. I'm going to give it 3 because obviously that's what we do until we get to the chopping block of the season, which is in like a few weeks. But this one was not a good start at all. Like not even close. And it was the very first show I watched of the spring too. So disappointed.
It was mine too because I watched it a little early.
Oh yeah, you did. I forgot about that.
But yeah, exactly that. But so I don't know everything you watched, but to me, I'll go through the list again to make sure. But I feel like a God's games we play was the only bad thing I watched so far. Yeah, that's a big cap. Unless you didn't watch this other one, and I'm gonna bring up next. I could have missed that one, but a God's game we play. I was hoping. I sincerely in my heart was hoping for something more like No Game, No Life. We all was. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened here. Like why did they try and over explain it like into the world? You could have given us the characters this first episode and given us the actual, I guess, dynamics of the world a little bit more following. But you know, I don't know, brother. The problem is like it happened like this. Some guy shows up after being gone for a while. The main character shows up after being gone for a while. He meets up with this teacher, I believe, or whatever she is. Well, meets up with her, and they're just having a casual conversation about everything that these two characters already know about. Well, you know that the other guy's this, guy's that, guy's this. Like this guy isn't one of the top games players already. Right, they're already saying he's one of the best. Yeah, and you're explaining it to him like he doesn't know, it was just very strange, very weird, off-putting, unrealistic. Yeah, and then he meets with the guy girl, one of the guys. And he plays a game with her, and it's even more exposition dumped. Instead of letting the game play itself, it's over tell its story. Yeah, and tell its story. It's over explaining how and what is happening in this particular game. It's so annoying. It's so annoying that I'm disappointed. It's doing what's the Kakaguri? It's doing that, but overkill.
Overkill, bro. Yes,
because that's where Kakaguri had a sweet spot where they explained it, but they let it play out so you can see what actually happened rather than them tell you every detail. It's better storytelling, and that is already very telling of where the show is going to go.
Looking at it, it's done by, I don't have my glasses on, so forgive me, but it's done by Linden Films. Linden Films did Tokyo Revengers, Goblin Slayer season 2. Insomniacs After School. Wow, that's interesting because this looks like shit compared to all of those. Animation wise, yeah, it's done quite a few things though. It's Call of the Night it did. Call of the Night also looks great. I don't know how they dropped the ball with this one when it comes to animation, but
they don't have to use their best animators for every show.
I guess that's a valid point. That was one awful one. To slide to the next one that you might have not have seen. Just get it out the way.
Let's get that one out the way.
The banished former hero lives as he pleases. Absolute garbage. I mean, absolute trash fire of a show. I mean, this was so bad that
okay, I did watch this.
This was so bad that I'm like, I cannot believe this was the second show I watched. This dropped 2 episodes too. So I'm thinking, oh shit, I got 2 episodes. Maybe this, usually what that means is it's going to be good. It is not. It is not good in the slightest. Again, this is one animation's piss poor. That's 50% on Annie list. It should probably be worse than even 50%. Studio Dean did it, which is par for the course because they don't really do too much action stuff from the looks of it. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they haven't done much of anything. Studio Dean is also doing Remaster too, which is we're gonna get to a little bit later. That's interesting.
That is wild, actually, if you compare the two.
That's where the remasters where the resources went. Banished from a former hero who lives as he pleases is terror. It's just awful. It's the character. I think what this is.
That's what it is, though. It's the characters, because I'm like watching. It's like I don't hate this, but it's something about it that is tasteless. I guess it's not tasteless. It's the main character and his. Is it the characterization of everyone around him? I think maybe.
No, it could be, or it could be they're all bad.
They're all clashing with each other.
Yeah,
and it's not. And when I say clashing, I don't mean they don't like each other. I'm saying that the characteristics of each character is clashing with another.
Yeah, and it just feels like a rush job. To be honest, everything looks bad. Like when he killed the dragon, and then he has these scales to turn in, but when you killed him, he turned into the triangle pieces. How the fuck you get scales? Like it was just a bunch of weird shit like that. And like, I don't know. It just didn't feel. I just didn't feel good at all.
Didn't feel thought out
at all. Like at all. Yeah. Like it was a lot of scenes put together. It was just a bunch of.
They didn't get their whiteboard and they sketches put up right to make sure they had everything. This makes sense if we were to look at it as a high school student or middle school student.
And it ran like and it showed like a slideshow. It was bad. It was poor. That was the second show I watched. So I'm in Discord. Yeah. I'm in our Discord like, yo, so far this spring season stinks. I'm like 0 for 2 when it comes to shows, man. I'm like, what is this? How awful.
So let's go to something that you couldn't take your eyes off of. I was reincarnated as a 7th prince so I can take my time perfecting my magical ability.
Man. Yes. Yes.
Now,
what did I say about it?
What you say about it?
I think I closed the Discord tab down.
Man.
You got to pull it up?
I'll go to the forum because I just saw that's dope, by the way. All right, here we go. That's the Aristocrat one. Hold up. All right. This and Polo. Oh, this is a Polo and Tail ass show so far. And it's fire. Laugh my ass off. Animation is going crazy too. It won't be for everyone, but if you want some silly old penis, pause. This might be a banger.
I forgot I said that. Yeah, this is one that seemed like it's going to be like the comedic, atypical, be usual reincarnated story of an overpowered character who is likable, with the character, we don't know any characters around him yet because this episode was just about him and how he's going to navigate this newfound form of power. But the start of it had me like, damn, that's kind of intense, because the start of it is him getting burned alive from somebody talking about how useless he is as like a commoner with very low magic. He's like, you never were going to amount to anything anyway. And it was so beautifully artistically done at the start of it. Like, damn, this
and transitioned well.
I'm like, this is wonderful. And when it transitions to him being a baby reincarnated into the same world, so it's not like per se an isekai. He's just reincarnated into the same world. This time as a noble, as the son of a noble, the seventh born son of a noble. So he doesn't have all the responsibility his older brothers have, but his magical ability is crazy.
Yeah.
Because he takes the time to learn as much as he can as a baby.
Constantly, right?
Yep.
But I didn't really enjoy this as well. It felt like what was it, like a fever dream? Like I felt like I'm watching this, and this is like everything I wanted, bro. Yes. Everything I wanted, and it's like with that title, this is everything I wanted. And yes, I feel like we're gonna get some crazy high animated battle that's gonna come, and it's just like I wasn't expecting it to be this good, but with that name, I could have only hoped.
Yes.
Lloyd seems like he's gonna be a wonderful character.
Right.
So he is the character that's super inquisitive because like he said, he's always trying to learn something. He's always perfecting it. He is that character that's also, he's already come across as inquisitive and
resourceful,
and it feels like he's gonna be creating problems trying to learn stuff. Because that's 100%. What he already did. This is going to be one of those ones that is going to be a joy every week, I feel like. Like, I'm sure we're going to finish this one for sure.
I'm glad this season has aired as it did, because it has two of my things that are like perfect to kind of opposite what we got what I talked about last week with Konosuba, and how that comedy not being for me. That style of comedy isn't for me. But this style of comedy and the style of another show I'm going to talk about a little bit later, style of comedy is so perfect for me, because I found myself more so enjoying that particular humor than something like that's kind of like obvious as Konosuba. So this one was funny to me in a different kind of way. And again, let me just preface what we're talking about. When we talk about this show being a Polo and Tail ass show, we know that this show is probably specifically set for us. And it won't
got our name in the title.
It won't be for everybody. I can tell you this now. It has a 67 on AniList. I'm not surprised by that.
But that's crazy.
Listen, I'm not surprised by that because of our taste. Our taste is just, when it comes to, we are able to, and I'm gonna say I can't say the word. Tell always got to say the word for me. But we're able to
compartmentalize.
Yeah, we're able to do that when it comes to certain shows, right? There are certain shows that kind of takes itself so serious that when you look at it subjectively being bad for us, we're able to, that word again, shows like this. Like, I know this show won't be for everybody. I know exactly why. It's your atypical, be usual reincarnated story of an OP character that's been going on for 5, 7, 8 years in the anime industry. Like, it's not. It
looks good. The characters are all likable
so far.
So far.
But again, we know that people are tired of that shit. They're just over it. And I get it. I totally get it, because it's not anything new. Everything that you see in this show is nothing new, nothing you haven't seen before. So I'm gonna say that. But if you're interested, and if if you've been listening to us for almost 6 years, we've been doing this podcast, you know our taste. So if you like what we say when it comes to stuff like this, you will like this show. So I will say, check it out for the first episode. But I thoroughly enjoyed every minute of it. Thoroughly. And
this is another one of those episodes for me that went by a little too fast. Like, I'm thinking we 8 minutes in still, and it said 22 minutes.
Yep.
And 10 seconds. Like, come on, bro. There's no way. There's no way.
It was super quick too. It was another super quick show that I, again, couldn't take my eyes off of. It was so good. So good.
In the zone.
Another one that I watched that is probably, it's meh. It's very meh. We got 2 episodes of it though, but it's an Archdemon's dilemma. Archdemon dilemma to love his elf bride.
Yeah.
This one is super meh. Like it's like as we say, we say, mostly coined from Till. I use it as a replacement word for y'all favorite word, mid. It's very mad decent. It's not anything spectacular. I didn't feel like it needed an episode discussion thread. It was, again, some comedy that I enjoy, but it's about a sorcerer. Sorcerers in these worlds are looked at as pretty much evil. They do experiments on humans and they try to do things to increase their magical ability by
They're selfish.
Yeah, selfish, heinous acts that, and can't nobody deal with them because they're sorcerers. Like, they're the most powerful beings in this world. Can't nobody do nothing with them, so they just try to like stay out of their way. But it's about a sorcerer who goes to this auction and sees this elf who's being sold as a slave, and he pays 1 million of their currency for her, because when it's love at first sight for him, and he's a socially awkward sorcerer who's never even talked to a woman before. So he's a socially awkward sorcerer who's never really talked to a woman, who's trying to coexist or cohabitate with this elf that he just bought as a slave. But we got 2 episodes of it. Both episodes were, to me, it's a polo show. It's not going to be for everybody. I won't recommend it because I know the world, but I am going to say it has a 70%. It has more than.
That's crazy.
That's insane. Because the other show is way better. If you got to choose between these 2 shows, choose the other Reincarnated show. But this one I do enjoy. Because it's silly. It's super silly. Like, his awkwardness is endearing. He seems like a nice guy who has this much power and who hasn't really gotten a chance to communicate with people, because, again, people stay away from these sorcerers that, I'm like, he's socially awkward. So I'm intrigued by it so far for the first 2 episodes.
I agree. I agree with just about everything you said, right? And I'm very surprised with how you kind of started with that. Because at first I'm thinking like, damn, Polo didn't like this one either.
No, I loved it. But
yeah, I found this one very easy to watch.
Yeah, I
see 100% why it's mad decent though. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, it's not gonna be for everybody for sure. Because it even felt a little slower paced, even though I didn't feel like it was necessarily paced bad. It just, maybe if someone was coming into this expecting something a little bit more action based, this is definitely not gonna hit in that sense. But comedic pacing, almost like slice of life fantasy world.
Yep.
Was kind of dope. And yeah, our MC being this social anxiety ridden sorcerer is insane. I thought I found it highly enjoyable. I can understand the mad decent rating though. It's not gonna be for everybody for sure, but enjoyable. I am very surprised. I was surprised with my watch through for this. I definitely enjoyed this one as well.
Me too. I enjoyed it more than I'm letting off, but I know if I sing its praises, people gonna watch it and be like, I don't know about this one. And I get it. I understand why you wouldn't, because it's like, it's nothing like the other shows we have here that are going to go higher on that list of spring shows that we watch. So I'm just tempering expectations. Shout out to Rob J with this particular show. Though I enjoyed it a lot, I just know when I go into this, I have to think of an objective mind for the people who listen to us and who, like Rob Stone, make lists, who trying to figure out what they want to watch. This one you can miss and you'll be just fine. Even though I enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
But if you have a limited amount of time, would I say put this one on that list? Absolutely not. Like, absolutely not. Along with those shows I mentioned at the beginning, which are being just absolute terrible. So.
Now, My question for you is, did you watch I'm pretty sure you haven't. Girls Band Cry.
No, absolutely not. You know I didn't.
Okay. So there are two shows I watched this week, centered around music, and both are they sound amazing. They sound amazing. Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night, and the Girls Band Cry. Well, I think you watched Jellyfish one. Did you watch Jellyfish one?
Absolutely.
The Girls Band Cry in the Night, to me, it is just a music video for 20 so minutes. But I found something very interesting. They have no in motion action shots, but they have a bunch of pan and tilt, zoom in, zoom out camera angles. So it's like you could tell they're leaning heavily into the music video theme, because it's literally there's a music video to start it off. Our main character is basically trying to make it, or she wants to make it as she doesn't even start off with a girl band, but she wants to make it as a musical artist. Similar to Jellyfish in the Night. But basically she ends up meeting with another girl and attempting to create this band. Now, audibly though, I'm tuned in. I just don't know if I'm gonna be tuned into the story here, because it didn't feel like it was really reeling anything in. I actually don't mind the visuals. It's all CGI. I don't think Polo will like this CGI. I'm not gonna lie to you. But it did have a decent pacing to go for what it was. It's just I'm not sure if the story is going to be there for this one.
Yeah, no, thank you. My limited nature of music anime is very limited for a particular reason. But to go into the one that you mentioned earlier, I wanted to save this one for later, because this kind of goes in the list. You know what? I'm going to save it for later. I'm going to skip Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night for now, because what I kind of want to do is I kind of want to tier these shows a little bit. If you stick with me here, because what I do is I watch it in a particular order after I've watched certain shows. I tier them in a particular order of which one of them to watch as I'm jumping around. Like, I'm gonna get all the trash ones out the way first.
I'm most excited about. Got you.
And then I'm gonna go mad decent, and then I'm gonna watch the more excited shows. I'm gonna watch in a particular order. So I want to save that one for later. Obviously, with our sleepers being later on those lists, because those are two incredible shows, the way I'm bringing these up are for a particular reason. I watched a show called Astro. TCB mentioned it in the Discord. He was excited for it. I watched the first episode. It's okay. It's less than mad decent. But it seems interesting because it's about a woman who takes over a dormitory, a living house situation, who's looking for a chef, and they hire a guy who almost seems to have a crush on this lady, and they hire a guy. He comes in, and the problem is the house is full of a bunch of weirdos, like a bunch of quirked out people who has different quirks going on, and then the main overarching story is that the wife of Astro, or not the wife, the manager of the dormitory is actually a alien from a different world.
Okay.
And she's hiding some massive secret while he's crushing on her. He doesn't know yet, obviously, but it's okay. It's super okay.
It's okay.
What I do like about it though is I do like the aesthetic of it. The aesthetic is, when you first turn it on, it looks like a 1996 cartoon, like a 1996 anime, which starts off with this space fight. It seems to feature our girl, and it's intriguing. It's intriguing at first, but then I'm like, I don't think I can sit through this and enjoy it like I can some of the other shows. So try it out, see if you like it, but I don't think people will, because it's very tropey. It's not for me. It's an interesting show though.
Okay, but it's a niche taste.
Yes, that's where I wanted to go. Very niche when it comes to its delivery and storytelling. Just not for me.
Got you.
To slaughter into over something that I enjoyed thoroughly though. Remaster.
Mm-hmm.
I I like this one a lot.
Same. It was very easy to like though. Very easy to like.
Yeah.
It rolled right into it in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They even gave us a little bit of explanation with like how the creature evolves fast. But I'm pretty sure you said you enjoyed it. Like, go ahead. I know you want to talk about this one.
Oh yeah. What I enjoyed the most of it was the way it delivered the story. Mm-hmm. And again, it's right off the bat. It starts off with our main god getting slaughtered, getting stabbed to death by this woman. Yeah, by this woman who I have no idea who she is or what world he even came from, because it seemed like this world was catered to people with powers. So essentially, he was killed in this world, but when he was killed in that world, he was reincarnated into a different one with the skill that he had in the prior world. Which was, I'm like, wait, there's skills in the prior world? Where did he come from? But I digress. That skill he has is very reincarnated as a slime. Mm-hmm. It's basically ability to take what you eat, take something from what you consume. And he's reborn as a monster, which is a goblin, which is, I don't know about it in this world, but normally goblins are the lowest tier of monster in any fantasy world. So I'm assuming that's what he started off as.
Right.
With his knowledge of his past life. So with that being said, he can not only communicate properly, obviously use the smarts he had from previous world from moment one, he uses it in a very strategic way to make himself more powerful. And it's super intriguing. Mm-hmm. Super intriguing.
And what I even found was that he used it to not only make himself more powerful, but almost empower the people around him too. You know what I mean?
About it, yeah.
It was dope.
Super dope.
And it definitely lends as well into the reincarnated as a slime kind of vibe, because that is what Rimuru did. But yeah, man, this was one that was also extremely enjoyable. I had nothing but high regards in watching this one as well, because they didn't over explain anything. Like we like to talk about, the exposition dump does get overwhelming, it's overbearing, but we get it's been 3 days, I'm this size because this is how goblins age. They talk about, well, it's been 8 days. They give us a timeline in a sense without over indulging in that, but just showing the points we've gotten to.
We learn as the character learns. That's exactly. The character know nothing about this goblin life. It even breaks down like as days pass. And it goes with it breaks down as the days pass, and then it goes into a narration. I learned that the goblin blah 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 blah, and it kind of explains how the goblin age works and the ability to evolve or whatever. It explains it in a way that's so naturally done that it puts other shows to shame that over explain. Man, exposition dumps are always awful in anime. I think,
yeah, no
excuse for it. But yeah, this was a great show so far.
Agreed, bro.
All right.
Let me see. What we going to next?
Let's swing over to.
Honestly, I got one I know you didn't watch, and it's probably gonna be on that level of you probably not gonna watch it. Go Loser Ranger.
I've heard it was a thread created for this one. I didn't partake.
Okay. I enjoyed this one, and it put this spin on the, what is it called, Sentai setup, where you have the Rangers who transform, and the people who transform into Rangers or whatever, right? Animation wise, it actually is animated extremely well. Looks really good. But the storyline is basically this: the heroes have completely slaughtered the monsters' bosses. There's nothing but minion monsters left, and they're called dusters. They formulate from dust, and that's essentially what we get. But we show this main character in the beginning who's walking into the plaza to come see the heroes fight the monsters, and basically he gets recruited to join the Rangers, and it's basically just a lower rank, like he's a Ranger minion kind of thing. It would be like a bunch of little soldiers or whatever, like how you would listen to Army. It's just a bunch of little low ranking file rangers, and he would enlist to become one of those and try and get up to the main ranger's strength, called Dragon Keepers or whatever. But basically, he's fed up with the fact that, well, we find out basically in the fight with the monsters versus the keepers, is that all of it is a lie. The monsters, yes, all their bosses are dead. They've been executed. But the monsters that are left are the dusters, which are the minions. They basically, every Sunday, they make up a fake skit on how to lose to the Rangers, so that the humans see that the Rangers are still relevant and strong. They're keeping them safe. So they make fake monsters and all that stuff. But what ends up happening is that some of the humans are rooting for the monsters to win. And the monsters get little inspiration, and one of them defects, and he transforms his body into that of a human, and he enlists to become a ranger as a human. That's like the first episode.
That's like what was that Love one where it was?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's the slice of life love one. Now, I do think that this is going to be good. I think this is going to be good because of the story. I agree with you on the Ranger thing. I'm not into the Sentai Ranger thing.
No, me, yeah.
But I feel like this is going to be good, and I'm actually extremely excited to watch this. It was one of my favorite watches this week.
Whoa. Wow. Okay. That's big. Damn, that took me off guard. Okay. And Train to the End of the World, Till. I'm gonna just be transparent here. This is a plug-in. I don't know where I'm gonna plug this in at in the show, but we almost forgot to talk about this, and I cannot end this without talking about this show. This show fucking is strange. But it's strange in an intriguing way, because I'm invested to see what this is. For those of you who don't know, Train to the End of the World is about was seemingly about a girl who comes across this sweepstakes that she wins, where she gets to be the first person to turn on 7G. Okay, like the network 7G. You know how you got 4G, 5G. They're on 7G in this particular world. And she gets to be the first person to push the on switch for the 7G network. She goes and she pushed the 7G network button, and it completely warps the entire fucking world. Like to unbelievable. Like, I don't even know what the fuck goes on. It's like an acid trip. I don't know. It's like the world goes crazy. And then in particular, it switches over to this town where the townspeople are all turned into animals.
They still have their brains, they can talk, that kind of stuff, but they're just all in the shape of animals. So no government systems, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And I mean, and as the episode goes on, you kind of learn that girl that got to press the button is from that particular town. And only like they said, and we mentioned this it's a long form. So make sure you go to mycheckwaifu.com and join the Discord. But it's a long thread about like thoughts and like ideas of what we think about it. But it's something in particular that stood out to me. And I realized that after the show was over, the girl was from this town. She got to be the one to press the button. My thought is, and this is just pure speculation. I think when she pressed the button, it warped the world in her image, in her imagination. Like from her imagination, it warped the world to that. I'm curious to see how that goes, but basically it goes to the town, and not everybody is turned into animals. They say that they turn into animals when they turn 21, like 6 months or something like that. They get turned into an animal. So there's still like kids in the town. In particular, the only kids that's left in this town are the 4 girls. Is it 4 girls? Yeah, 4 girls who are essentially seems to be the main characters of this. They decided they're going to spend as much time as they can finding that girl, which her name is like Yura or something like that.
Right.
Yura, I think her name is Yura. But they're going to try to do whatever they can to find her. And long story short, they get on this train, and the train is going to Ikebukuro or Ikebukuro or whatever, however you say it. And they have 30 stops to get there. And now it's basically this coming of age story, at the same time this supernatural, at the same time this psychological story going on at once that is super intriguing, man. Like I am invested in what the hell this is going to be. At first, I didn't think I was going to like it until everything started unraveling. So, what's your thoughts?
Oh, I did say I want to validate what you said about the 7G thing, right? Because they did say that the whole point, the world has 4G, the world has 5G. Well, we wanted to skip one and we went straight to 7G, and the whole point of it, what he said was that it's instant communication to another person.
Ooh,
so
I forgot about that part. Yeah,
from mind to mind, basically. So basically, what he said is that everyone has 7G. So it could have been that she pressed the button, just like you said, and her thoughts or her mind all just went straight to
everybody.
Yeah. So, you know, that could be exactly what it is, and that's a good theory already. This show, I feel like it's going to be I hate to say it, I feel like it's gonna be wacky, but in a good way.
Interesting.
In a very good way, because it does give that kind of like coming of age story with that mystery to figure out what's going on. Like Zenjiro, yeah, he's not turned into an animal, but he switches between being old and young, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
When he has a particular item, right, his hat,
right, but it's not even just tied to the item. So there's so many different things. Like we get to another city, it could be an entirely different setup. It could be no, they're not turning into animals, but they might be every 1 p.m. they're bouncing around like a basketball or something like that.
Interesting, like a dimension type of thing.
Yeah, we have no idea what the full scape of this world is, and realistically, I don't think they do either.
Yeah.
But we do know that we saw the girl, and that there were still people out there. You know what I mean? The girl was seen in amongst people, so we don't know what the full world entails yet. It could be perfectly normal outside there, but we have to see when we get there. So this is very interesting.
What's funny is that I just finished the show today. I watched a new show that came out in 2021 that I saw that a couple of people dropped, like Huey T on my friends list or adding list. So make sure you add me on adding list. But Huey TJ dropped it, and I think Dad Needs to Talk dropped it too. But I just completed. It's called Sunny Boy, and it's about a classroom being cast adrift in these multiple dimensions, and they keep going to these different dimensions. It's a wacky show. The show is definitely not. It tries to be Monogatari, but in the most boring way possible. It's very boring. Yeah, it makes sense as to why they dropped it. It's doing too much to the point where it kind of fumbles over itself, and the ending was so unfulfilling. But I digress. It reminds me of that, but I think this is going to be a more intriguing way of doing it because of the implications of that 7G, of that straight mind to mind communication. But so the fact that she see these people as animals, but the problem is that at certain points their mind switches to animal instincts, and that is like, yo, they got to figure out what's going on here, or that town is just going to be a zoo at that point. And it's quite nerve wracking. This was also one of my favorite shows. This is like top 5.
This is a good one. This one was surprising.
Yeah, same. This is probably the most surprising for me because I was not expecting it at all. This was after I watched Spice and Wolf, so I'm going into it like off the highest Spice and Wolf, and I'm like, okay, that was so good. Now let's see what the fuck this is. I thought I was gonna be on some heavily delusion shit. Y'all know how we feel about that show. Show stinks to us. But this was not that. And
it was wacky, it was fun, and it was intriguing.
Yes. And much more likable characters, for sure. I'm looking forward to it though. I'm looking forward to it the most for sure, as to see where this story goes. There's a lot more we can talk about with this particular show, but I do feel like with the end of this, I will say that I think it has to do with her mind and where her mind was at. I think she's like the catalyst for every wacky thing that they're about to experience, and it's because it's coming from her brain and what she thinks.
So like when she gets somewhere, she might see something that changes based on her perspective.
It could even. So
here we go. We're gonna be theory crafting this show all season.
So expect to hear a lot of that. One of my favorite watches this week is, and this is going to be at the bottom of my favorite watches list, but it's still very fucking good. And it is T Moneyfinger Sleeper. Grandpa and Grandma Turn Young Again. This was what I mentioned earlier, my style of comedy. This was so good because for one, the grandma and grandpa are adorable, absolutely adorable. But what this is about a grandmother and grandpa who finds this golden apple on the apple tree that they planted 70 years ago when they first got married. They planted this apple tree 70 years ago when they first got married, and it was knocked down in a hurricane. They picked it up, they kind of tended to it a little bit, and when they go to check on the tree again, it has a gold apple on it. Them two decide to consume the gold apple. When they consume the gold apple, they wake up the next morning young again. So they're like, the grandmother was on the verge of leaving this earth, and the grandpa was not too far behind her. But they lived normal old people lives. They were so sweet, and they have friends and et cetera, et cetera. They turn young again. When they turn young again, they still have their grandma and grandpa tendencies, but they're young, a handsome grandpa and a beautiful grandma now back into their 20s, it looks like, and enjoying life as they did before, just as young people. And it is such a pleasant show to watch. Absolute joy. I had a smile on my face the entire time watching this show. Didn't leave it once. I didn't look away once. Again, another show that sped by. So many little funny things, because what happens is, like, it's no secret. Everybody knows it's them. Everybody knows they turn young again. Everybody's just living with it, and they're living with it in just a wow, I can't believe you look that good kind of way. Or the granddaughter, because he has a granddaughter, is kind of like doting over the grandpa because he's hot to her now. And then it is such an enjoyable story between these not even just the two main characters, but the city of characters. Like the whole city of this show.
Old People's Club.
The Old People's Club.
Festival. We got a sports festival in the first episode, bro.
Yes. The townspeople are so lovable, man. I love everything about this show. It was one of my favorites. Again, I found myself laughing at it audibly. I enjoyed it just that much. It was such a good show.
I'm be real. I wasn't sure about this one.
Really?
I wasn't. I definitely enjoyed my watch. And it was, all the humor to me was hilarious. It's just the grandfather, even though he's looking young now, the granddaughter thing, I'm like, oh my God.
That was silly. But I didn't think it was serious though. I thought it was just like,
yeah, clearly playful. It's not serious. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I think that this show going forward is going to be one of the funniest shows this season, because the whole setup for this show, even like when they did the sports festival, because like I said, that was like my shit there.
That's hilarious.
I'm just like, yo, they pull up. Why is Grandpa jacked? Like
all that farming he been doing.
I'm telling you, but bro, he didn't look like that in the beginning when he first got young. I'm like, nah, bro pulled up strong. They did the three-legged race. They not even. They in perfect sync. They've been married for 70 years, and they got these young bodies again. I'm like, oh, this anime is gonna be ridiculous. It's gonna be ridiculous. So yes, it's gonna be hilarious. But I really did enjoy the beginning where it felt a little bit more serious too. And it wasn't like it was overwhelmingly serious. It just had like this note of kind of seriousness.
Yeah.
Where they've been old, they love each other. I hope that there are more of those like very heavily love oriented slice of life scenes for the old people, because I like to see a little bit of old love. That's dope. So I also have high hopes for this one too.
And I'm the opposite. I don't want it to take itself serious. I want it to be silly. And
I just want moments, bro.
I just want it to be silly and fun. And then, again, like you said, they do have some serious moments. Like the moment where she's like, holy shit, we've been going for an hour. Wow. The moment where she's like talking like about how they got together, essentially, how it wasn't even supposed to be them two together, and how she confessed, and it was this whole situation, but it still flipped into this whole funny scene that was also adorable. It was so great. It was so great. I enjoyed it. Okay. God.
We got some stuff we still got to get through.
Nah, I know we definitely do. We definitely do. That was one of my favorite watches, though. Go ahead, your turn. I'm gonna let you pick.
Oh my goodness. Let me see, brother. Let me see.
If you don't mind, I'm gonna just touch on this really quick.
Yeah,
because this is one that I watched a long time ago. But it's Spice and Wolf. Merchant meets the Wise Wolf. This was one that I've seen years ago, like well before, like during my whole, like I think it was 2012 or something. I watched it, but it was during my whole newfound love of slice of life. Really loved it. When I tell you, when I turned this show on, this is after I watched the first two shows we talked about, the trash ones, the God Games We Play, and then the Banished Former Hero, whatever. Those are two shows that I watched first, and then I watched Spice and Wolf. When I turned on Spice and Wolf, everything that I watched prior was washed the fucking way. It was gone because I got chills watching this show again because from the music put on these nostalgia glasses for me. So forgive me if I'm overselling Spice and Wolf because I just love it that much. This show was so good when I first watched it that watching it again with this new coat of paint, with this beautiful sound design, same voice actors I was in the prior one, I'm captivated that it's back again and so excited to see more because I love these two characters and I'm so glad they back. Very special, very, very special story. I'm looking forward to this one a lot. I was very intrigued by the dynamic between the characters. I don't know what's going to happen in this, but I hope that it has a sense of peace to it. Because I do want to see these characters kind of live this peaceful existence for a bit. But I feel like that's not going to be the case here. But I am so intrigued by what I'm going to see. It's all because of the character dynamics. Like it seemed like they were very willing and ready to understand each other or try to understand. And that is, it feels like the writing is there in terms of how these characters are going to be dynamic. So yes, I'm also excited for this one. I had no idea what this was going into it, but I was pleasantly surprised. Oh my God, I love the way they did when she transformed and he freaked out. Oh, that was I was cool.
Anticipating getting to see the full image though. And I get why they're trying to hold it off, but man, and then the explanation as to where she lives is a cool thing too. I like this kind of stuff. I love mythical lore kind of based stuff too. So I think this is also gonna be is gonna be right in my pocket too.
Bro, the hairs on my arms were standing up the moment the music came on. I'm like, yo, this shit is like an HD version of it was. I'm gonna try not to be overzealous about it because again, I love the original so much. So I don't want to overhype it and then people's expectations are let down, but I don't think it will be. I just think it's just that spectacular of a show.
Yes.
And we're all in for a treat. So please look forward to that. And if you haven't seen the original, watch Spice and Wolf. Watch this one. This one is perfect.
All right, are you ready to talk about As a Reincarnated Aristocrat?
Yes, let's do it.
This was also one of my favorite watches this week. As I stated earlier.
Yes. This was probably like third on my favorite watch list.
I feel like this, and yeah, I would say on the favorites list, at least for opening episodes, there was very little that they did wrong. I feel like the opening for this was phenomenal in terms of getting that explanation and everything like that. But how our character establishes themselves in this world and kind of differentiates them, it's just all right. I'm trying to get into specific details here.
Yeah, please do.
So obviously we know through Isekai that the appraisal skill is coveted. It's always right, and it's such a simple skill, but our aristocrat character is reincarnated in this world as essentially a prince, and they start off with this scene where he's essentially burning his father's body, right? That's the first thing. He's burning his father's body, and they go into the story as to how we've led to this point. Basically, we're 3 years into his birth, reincarnated in this world, and he is a genius. Reading books, all that stuff, everything. But what we soon learn is that he has the ability in appraisal to appraise everyone's skills around him except for himself. So he sees that his father's.
He does have the ability to appraise himself. He just chooses not to because he's scared of what he's going to find.
Oh, I thought he said he couldn't. But yeah, either way, yes, he's scared of what he would find, which is also reasonable because after seeing what he can see is crazy. But he calls it his instinct because he doesn't want to let the world know what he has or what he can do. But he starts off with recognizing that one of the guys, not good with a spear, keeps getting beat up. Yeah.
Real quick, before we go into that, I do want to say this. What I'm liking about this is that it starts off with him his love for history, right? He's a history buff that is infatuated with Nobunaga. I think that's extremely important. That
was it, yeah, the Nobunaga.
For this particular show, only because of where the show is going. I know where the show is going because of, unfortunately, I seen the trailer and the trailer blows you the fuck back. He doesn't have any skill whatsoever, but the appraisal skill. Like, that's his only skill. He's not going to be OP. He's not going to be an OP character. And that's why in our forums, I called it a breath of fresh air, because he's going to be a character who is capable of finding that team and delegating. And when you're able to delegate, like right now within this first episode, like you were just describing, he was able to find a guy who wasn't good with a spear, but is excellent with a bow, with his intuition. He took that intuition, took it to town and found what they call him, a Malkin.
Right, a Malkin. I ain't want to talk about that because hear me out.
I hated it. I hated that
part.
Too.
I was like, they did almost everything right. That whole part gave me the ick.
I was not happy with that.
I was like, it's good, but it gave me the ick.
Like, dude, do anything. Make him an elf. Don't make him a dark skinned character, and everybody just hates the guy. Like,
I swear to God,
it was a little too close to home.
it was right on. It was a little too on the nose.
Yeah, too on the nose for being. Obviously we're two Black American men, so it's like we kind of know what this is, and it didn't feel right to us, obviously, and I think anybody that watches it wouldn't feel right to them either. But it was kind of wrong. But he finds this guy essentially and appraises him and sees that he has an strategist skill. Mm-hmm. Not only that, but he's also quite capable with a sword as well. But
his lowest rank skill was 2 C's, and that was in what? That was in naval
or some
and
shit
aerial.
Like that. Yeah.
Naval and aerial, but he had B's, A's, and S's and everything else.
Right. So he is basically a top tier character in the gacha, if you're familiar with that. Mm-hmm. But he gets him to become his retainer. And when he wants to hire him as a retainer, and when he does, his entire house is like, no, this guy is.
They didn't even want to feed him.
It was fucking crazy. I don't even like to talk about what happened, but he was basically discriminated against because of what he was. And the only way they knew what he was because of color. Okay, but I'm just. It's maybe I didn't like this that much. Hold on.
Hey, look. If you look past the racism,
but looking past that, honestly, the kid he obviously came from Japan, so he didn't give a fuck about what. Well, I mean, him in his particular case, he just cared about his capabilities when he found it, and it seemed like he genuinely just liked him as a human. Right. So the main character seems likable. And his the guy he hired, Wrights, yeah, he seemed fucking cool too. So I'm genuinely impressed with the character so far. And then the preview that we got was also dope with the way it looked. So I don't want to go too far into that because I don't know what's going to happen exactly, but I'm looking forward to what this one is, because it does seem like it's about to be how the realist hero rebuild the kingdom mixed with a little bit of Log Horizon in a sense. And by Log Horizon, I mean by like using a strategist when it comes to like war or whatever.
Yeah. And the way they set this up is it looks very I don't know, man. They got a lot of dynamic scenes that makes this appear to be one of those shows that's gonna, like you said, be heavily invested in those characters that he does collect to kind of like join his retainers or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I'm happy with this one. Very excited about it. The only issue was the Malkin racism.
Yeah,
that's too much, man. That almost pushed it over the edge.
Straight up. And shout out to one of our Patreon producers, Off One Matt. He says this one is definitely going to be a week to week watch for him, and I agree. I agree week to week because again, it also went by extremely fast. And I do want to give a shout out to the fight between the main character's dad, because he put him up against the rights. He put him up against as a trial to see if he's going to be allowed to hire the guy, and that fight was so well done.
It was. It was a good fight.
The animation absolutely went crazy. I forgot to check it, but who is the studio?
Bro.
Studio Mother. Okay.
Yeah.
Studio Mother does very artistic stuff, like More Than a Married Couple. They did Ari Frietta too, which is interesting. That's the only thing they did was More Than a Married Couple and Ari Frietta, season 1, 2, and 3.
Glad they stepped the animation up.
Niggas gonna say something.
Yeah, buddy. No. No.
I'm definitely week to week on this one for sure. This is one of the, like I said, either top 3 or 4 shows that I feel like is a must watch for sure. So far, right? Like so far.
We got like 8, 10, 12 more things that drop next week.
I know. Goodness gracious. And then you started there. I want to go to one that is slowly becoming my favorite, and it does have music in it, but it does have it in a way I feel like it's going to be more Oshinoko slash light, like a light element of it, and that's Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night, which is I think Saphir Sleeper.
Yeah. So
this is Saphir Sleeper, and he mentioned it in Anime Talk, so I can't pull it up because that'll be too much of a headache, but. Yeah, because I can't find it. But he said it's looking good. And apparently the creator or the writer of Tomozaki wrote this, according to TCB, I think.
So you liking this one?
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Wow.
So this again.
But before you say this, I ain't trying to cut you off. I did not think you was gonna like this, and hear me out, because I was enjoying it. I thought I was gonna have to fight with you on this one.
No, because T Money Fingers put it perfectly. This is a place further in the universe feel to it, more of like that coming of age story of people. I mean, it's almost exactly like a place further in the universe when it comes to like their dynamic, right? Like you got one character who's gung-ho about her goals and her dreams and what she's going to do to prove everyone wrong. And you got one girl who's not so sure of herself and doesn't really know how to go about it and tries to be as average as possible just so she fits in so she don't have to stand out, or because she's scared to stand out. So I would love it. I love that dynamic so far between these two characters. Like, absolutely. And then it's beautiful, fucking gorgeous.
It's definitely beautiful, bro. It's a beautiful show. Yeah, I like I said, I thought I was gonna have to fight with you on this one, but yes, this is definitely a beautiful show. And where it seems to be directed, I'm excited for that. And I'm a big fan of the almost like what that they use the darkness to accentuate colors, and that's why it's set in the night, right? So I feel like it's going to be one of those shows that realistically I'm going to have it turned on when everybody is asleep, had a surround sound on, and I'm going to watch it in pitch darkness. Even if I got to wear my glasses or something, because my glasses got the surround sound on those, I need that full audio effect, bro.
Yes.
Because this is one of those shows that really kind of, it leans heavily into that visual immersion with the auditory immersion. I was fully immersed when I first watched it. So that's why I was like, man, this is like almost one of those things that would be a dope cinema experience, just to enjoy that full range of things. I hope the story is going to be as good as just like everything else, though, because it can't just look good. It can't just feel and sound good.
Yes.
it has to have that character and everything like that. They're making the color and everything of it pop, and that's part of the world. So if they can continue to grow that world, this show is gonna be fire, bro. But I do enjoy it so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I love how it was paced the first episode.
Yes,
this goes into what I'm going to discuss with the next show we're going to discuss. The characterization is so important. It got everything out in this first episode on who these characters are, or at least these first two characters, who these characters are, what their goals are or aren't, and it presented it so well that it felt like I watched about 5 episodes already within one without feeling rushed. I hope that makes sense. Gel with me when I say that though, because like when you're watching something and you watch one episode, it feels like you are invested already. Like when you can get invested this early, I think that goes to show like there's no excuse for poor writing and character development, even within the first episode of a show. This does it brilliantly. I think it, like I'm already attached to the two characters we got, and it didn't even need to do much or show much. It was easy to watch, very easy to watch.
Yeah.
And to go to the next show that I wanted to discuss with that, again, this is in the upper echelon of my top shows with Jellyfish Can't Swim, the Aristocrat one, and now it's a Windbreaker. This is for those of you who are unaware, we chose this show as on our live episode as the show we're going to review at the end of the season. So we already got the end of the season. We still got to find a mid-season show to review, but this end of the season show that we're going to review, when I turned the show on, I was going with lower than tempered expectations. I'm like, I'm not expecting shit from this. I'm expecting some Tokyo Revengers clone that I'm just not going to give a fuck about in T-minus 10 minutes.
That's what you expected?
That's exactly what I expected. I turned it on, saw the title screen, and looked over at my analyst and said, "Oh, fuck, Cloverworks? Wait a minute. Let me sit up in my chair."
He said, hold up.
Hold on. Cloverworks is doing this. It's one of my favorite studios. Let me sit up. So I sit up and I watch. And as I'm watching it, I swear to goodness, Tell, I had a thug tear by the end of it. I'm like, whoa.
Let me tell you where they got you. They got you with the music mixed with all that emotional input, because Polo and I, as kids, we always wanted to be, and I don't say wanted to be, this is just kind of stuff we did. Now, granted, Polo and I are not tall people. We are average height people, dead smack in the middle, average height people.
Exactly.
5'9", 5'8", bro. Yep. We right there. So we were the kind of people who took it to like, if you picking on somebody, we don't stand for that. We don't do that. So anytime anyone's getting bullied, no matter how big you were, people loved us because they knew that's just how we were. Yep. And we got a lot of respect for that, for taking up for people smaller than us or even bigger than us sometimes. It just depended on the situation. That's just what we did. But this show got Polo because of that. That's who he is at his heart. Yeah. That's who he is at his heart. He can't hold it back. And I feel him because I felt the same thing. I ain't had a thug tear, but I was like, they got my inner child. Put me in a chokehold. I ain't gonna be able to resist it.
Dog, I'm getting emotional now just thinking about it. Like it was for me. Oh my god, that music.
It made me want to root for these characters.
That's like never before. Like never fucking before. Tell.
It makes you want to root for the characters, and it was so seamlessly the way they did it that made you want to root for the characters. Because even when the moment felt dire, it felt like we were supposed to be heavily indulged in the moments, and we're like, is our main character already going to take a fatal blow here? Like I felt like that in this first episode. It was crazy.
I was 120% invested. Again, let me back up. When it started off with the character coming through the town. He's like, okay, I was bullied. I was told I ain't shit. I'm weird. I look crazy. People ain't really mess with me. That already, I'm like, oh man, that hurt, to see, just because he looked a little different. He was bullied and bothered and shunned, essentially. That was like
barely different for real.
Right. That bugged me. So I'm like, okay, damn, that's fucked up. And then it goes into it again. It don't over explain, because we only know what the character knows at this particular point. So he goes into the town, sees this girl getting harassed by these group of gentlemen, and he goes to fucking and whoop their ass in a matter of minutes. Whoop their ass, save the girl. She's thankful for that. She said, come on over to my shop, and they began to enjoy some food. And now she's explaining to him what this place is, essentially, in a way, again, because he don't know where he's coming from. He just transferred here because he heard this was a school for delinquents where he wants to find and fight the strongest. At first, I'm like, you just want to find the strongest? That is very shallow.
Yeah,
very shallow at first. Yeah, very usual. So I'm like, okay, I'm still just okay. I'm here with it. It's all right. It's mad decent, but it looks good. The music sound great. The animation of him beating their ass was beautiful. I'm like, oh, this is dope. This is cool. So they go into the conversation, and as they go into the conversation, she don't fully tell him everything. And because of that, because he don't fully tell him everything, he kind of goes off in a way that's very interesting. And because I'm missing a very important piece, because he has this kind of shell, this kind of guard up with her, and she notices something within him that's like, this kid is a good kid though. And I think that was a piece of it that was so well done, because it was like a little hint dropped. Like, for example, when he gave the old man his bag that he left, that was just a small piece of kindness that she didn't think, or that you wouldn't even think about being brought up until the end of the episode, like they brought it up. The storytelling was so well done that I was stunned at how well done it was. But when it got to the point where it was at the end, right, where they was coming back to the town to kind of get revenge for him whooping their ass, I'm like, yo, this shit is great. Like, by that point, because of all like the characterization that was going on within that shop and them eating the omelet or whatever, when they were getting into that point, I'm like, okay, this shit is great. This shit is spectacular.
Yeah, and even the conversation amongst the characters, you know what I mean? The characters that just popped up out of nowhere, it made a lot of the things make sense, because they staged the information in a way when they said, oh, well, this area once used to be unsafe. But why? What do you mean? You said they're still fighting, so why is this area no longer unsafe? You know what I mean? And then they drop in with this kind of showing you the fortifications of the city. And it does give a nice feeling to that Tokyo Revengers-esque style, because I feel like that's really what Tokyo Revengers their characters said they wanted to be, but this is showing this is what they actually are. Right. So I think this is a dope concept, a dope way to do it. And I can only hope that it stays as good as this first episode and get better. I
like these characters. Well, again, I only met basically 2 so far. We only met basically 2. Yeah. So these 2 I like more than all characters in Tokyo Revengers already. And that says a lot. I just got so exhausted watching Tokyo Revengers that I don't care anymore. I don't give a fuck about that show. I don't give a fuck about anybody in it no more. Like, it was too much, mostly because I've read a lot of it. So that's probably why, but it don't, Tokyo Revengers to me, don't feel good to watch.
It don't. I agree.
But it's not like it's a bad, I wouldn't say it's a bad show per se.
It makes you feel sad and melancholy.
Yeah, it's just not a good show to watch. And what Dad Needs to Talk talked about, shout out to Dad Needs to Talk podcast, but what he talked about in the Windbreakers episode 1 discussion was that these characters are going to be it seems like a breath of fresh air, because it's a protecting type of fighting instead of a fighting for what, nothing type shit. Like,
right, trying to figure out what you're fighting for.
I equate Tokyo Revengers to playing like something like fucking Last of Us Part 2. Like, and hear me out with this one. I cannot stand playing Last of Us Part 2. While it's a great game mechanically, it feels good to play, it is not a fun game to play. Like nothing about Last of Us is fun. Everything about it is about dread and just depression and angst, turmoil, and nothing good about playing that game. That's what I think about Tokyo Revengers. While this one is like playing something like Final Fantasy 14, just this breath of fresh air, or Mirror's Edge, something like just open and fun, you know. And I'm looking forward to where the fuck this is going.
I do not think. I sincerely, I know you were hyped about this when you texted me about it, right,
bro?
No, you didn't text me. I think I hopped in Discord with you. You did text me? I can't remember. But either way, because I remember as soon as I hopped in Discord, you said something about Windbreaker too. Immediately, it was so like good. It clearly was that good to you, and it's so weird because yes, it is good. It's crazy to me. Why am I tripping today? I felt like this one is just not your style, but it does hit all of those story elements that we typically like. Yeah, it hits those character beats that we generally like. So it 100% makes sense, and it's not just about like. It's not just about hands being thrown. Yes. It's about the dynamic of the characters and what the world is like, and the world being this city with the gang violence and these specific civilians. Like even the moment that they get into this fight and the townspeople are excited and they're saying like, it's about time. Like they set up this world and this I want to say ecosystem, this dynamic where it's just like it's feeding off of each other already. Yep. Everything is eating off of each other, but it's like it's so good. I'm very surprised that I'm not surprised because like I said, it hits all the things that we like. It just still has that like almost like that childlike innocence to it. And I think I thought of it that way because we both relate to that specific philosophy. Yeah. As kids, that's just what we were. So yeah, bro, this is another one that is exciting to watch every week.
I can't wait to see where it goes. Now it could absolutely drop the ball. This is episode 1. It could totally drop the ball and completely miss from here on out.
Make a left turn.
For 100%. But I would never forget about the feeling I felt watching that first episode. Like I just can't, because again, the music gave me chills. I'm in everything that they were talking about when they were talking to him, when he was all like, you know, kind of like taken back by the citizens trying to help him after he was cut. And like, he was like, yo, what is going on here? I'm thinking I'm coming to a town where people trying to find the strongest, it was going to be some, he was thinking like that protagonist we hate. That's where I wanted to go. He was thinking like that protagonist we usually would hate, where it's like, I just want to be the best. I just want to beat the strongest. I want to be that. It started off there.
The world won't let him be that.
But the world won't let him be that. And because of that, he was like, so you mean to tell me these delinquents are playing hero? That sounds fucking amazing.
I love it.
Yeah. When he got excited about that, I'm like, yes, that means that this character can fucking grow and evolve and
immediately, because that's immediately what he did, and
be more than just this fucking I'm going to be the best shonen type of character. And that's why I fucking loved it so much, because of that. Like I'm like, oh, you mean to tell me you got some growth in you? You know what I'm saying? In the first episode, it didn't take long. It didn't take much. In the first episode, he got that growth. I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. I'm invested. And then I think the last 2 we got, unless you got something else you watched, because the last 2 was obviously Jobless Reincarnation,
Fire,
Mission Yozakura. This might have been my episode of the week, but I decided against it because I know we're gonna sing this praises. This turned out way better than I thought.
Unfair for us to continuously rave about Mission Yozakura, family.
Been doing this since 2019.
But that first episode was everything, bro. It was exactly that as I remember.
Oh my God, it was beautiful. It was so well done, dude. It was so well done. It was better than I thought, because what I thought they were going to do, and they still could do this, it's still time, but I was thinking they were going to do the Kaguya-sama Love is War type of situation, where there's like There's a situation on the screen, and then it ends like quickly. Like it's a 4-minute segment, and then it goes to a narrator or something like that, talking about what's happening next, and it goes into the next scene. That's how the manga is kind of structured, right? I thought it was going to do that until I realized that this is 27 episodes, and there's going to be 27 shorts with it. So those shorts are going to be those little side things that happen within the manga that are like kind of just free flowing within the manga that you already know what I'm talking about because you read it too. But it's going to be those shorts are going to be that, but this is going to be a straight fluid story. And if that's the case, this is going to be even better.
Crazy. It's going to be so streamlined and good.
It's going to be even better than the manga then, in my opinion, if it goes that route.
Yo, we might end up covering up to where we stopped reading.
100%, like what, 50, 60 something around there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was so good. I love the voice actors they got for these characters too.
Man.
Shout out to Futaba, the big sister, big little sister. Love her. Oh my God, it was so good. What was your favorite aspect about seeing it animated?
The color, bro. I hate to say it, but it's the color because it all played out like I said in my mind from what I watched and what I read. It played out exactly like that, even visually. I was thinking about I gotta go find a picture that I drew all those years ago.
Yes,
but it played out exactly like that. But the color, it just popped with what I was expecting. Mm-hmm. Everything just fits so well. So I was very excited to see it. And then the head bonk on the head when they walked through the door. Yeah. I was tripping, bro. I feel like this is going to be hilarious and it's going to be good. What was yours, bro?
My absolute favorite was obviously Big Brother, eldest brother.
Crazy.
They got his.
He's a demon.
They got his intimidating presence. His OP-ness, no Diddy. They got that down packed. Like he when he comes on screen and you don't hear him, you just hear him talking out of nowhere. Or when you see like the intensity of his ability, it's so intimidating. And it's already a presence that I'm like, oh shit, this is about to be crazy. Because the other siblings is no slouch at all. Like none of them are slouches. So to see them especially Futaba, to see them get tossed around like ragdolls was crazy. I love that. And then to see Tayo fucking do his thing when he reaches for the ring, I'm like, oh, this is so sick.
That was nice, bro.
The brother was shocked at like, yo, what? What are you doing? Oh, I loved it, man. Michio's and Core family, that was a top tier first episode.
Yeah, so happy to finally have that animated. We've been asking for that for years, and we finally here.
And we're not going to spoil episode 13 because this is a continuation of season 2 of Jobless Reincarnation. But I'm so glad. Oh shit! And Reincarnated as a Slime came back too, like it never left.
Like it never left. Now I do want to say this real quick.
Yeah,
Jobless Reincarnation. It was a beautiful episode. Oh my God, beautiful welcome back. It gave a great capstone to what we had before. And it almost makes me wary. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you spitting. Damn, I can't even deny what you were about to say. Yep.
It makes me scared, especially with the promise you'll never just disappear again. Oh, no spoilers.
Yeah, that touched me. That I'm like, fuck. Because what
they didn't make us assume anything in this episode, bro. They didn't leave us anything to assume. So if you don't give me nothing to go off of, ain't no cliffhangers or nothing, it just ended just quietly like that. What do you expect?
Jobless Reincarnation coined turning point. That like like you don't notice turning points in shows now. We notice turning points in shows now because of Jobless Reincarnation, because they literally had a title called Turning Point and they fucking flipped the show on its head. If you watch Jobless Reincarnation season 1 and you get to Turning Point, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I am fucking nervous about what Core 2's Turning Point is going to be. Because if you know, we got mostly the slice of life. It's probably going to continue on because they got a little while before they can get out of this particular arc. So I'm nervous. To go to reincarnated as a slime though,
bro.
Holy shit. Shout out to them for having an episode 0.5 episode to kind of catch you up on everything, because I watched that and it was absolutely perfect. Like it was a perfect reminder of where we were and where we left off at. Like perfect. Then we get to where we left. We get to the continuation of that.
Oh my God.
I love this show so much.
You know what I love?
What?
Diablo.
Shout out to Diablo. I knew you was going to say that. I should have said it first.
Diablo is him.
Yeah.
He is him.
100%.
And it's just so like, it's the unwavering loyalty.
Yes.
And the willingness to just do whatever.
Yep.
There's no... And it's just the wittiness, the like using Veldora and everything.
Talking about
Diablo
a retainer, that motherfucker is the best retainer in the world.
You need friends like Diablo.
Yep.
That's a fact, bro.
Straight
Because
up.
Diablo is willing and down for whatever.
100%, man. I am blown back about how good Reincarnated came back, and it's gonna get even better from here. Like I'm looking forward to the pushes that is going to continue on. Tell, this was just part one.
Yeah.
Of the spring anime. But I gotta say, I'm at Polo Born Fly on all social media.
I'm at King Teliano on all social media.
You can follow our social medias at Mike Check Waifu on Twitter and at Mike Check Waifu on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. And remember, MikeCheckWaifuWaifu.com, join the Discord. Mike Check.
You're now tuned into Mike Check Waifu Waifu. Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you?